Okay, the final part of this introduction to user authentication and roles is to actually create and configure some user roles. Essentially, we want maybe one particular user to have a certain better access to content, and other users to maybe not have such beautiful access to content. Okay, so the way we can do that is if we click on the login component. Okay, if you click on the login component and you see the little arrow symbol at the top there, it brings up a little menu which has the option Administer Website. This is very, very useful and interesting because what it does, if I click on Administer Website, it brings up an ASP page which allows you to configure the site that you're creating here. So, as you know, we've created two users, John and Steve, and what we can do here is if we click on the Security tab, it will actually show is these existing users. We can manage them, etc. If I click on Manage Users, what you will see then is there's the role, there's John, there's Steve, edit user, delete user, edit roles. Now currently we can't do any editing roles because we haven't created any roles. So what we're going to do now is actually by clicking on the Security tab, we're going to create and manage some roles. So click on Create and Manage Roles, and here we can actually create some roles. Now what I'm thinking of doing is creating a role called Administrator, which will have kind of higher powers than other users. Okay, and I'm going to create another role just called User, which is just going to be for the very ordinary user. Okay, so this is as I say, this is our visual interface to the site we're basically working on. Now let's go back into click on Home, and here now again we click on the Security tab. What we're going to do now is kind of like manage our users. So we say which user belongs to which role. So if I click on Manage Users, there I've got John, there I've got Steve. What I'm going to do now is click on John and edit roles. So to say that John is going to be, I'm going to call John a user. Okay, so I'm going to say that John is a user. Okay, and then after I've done that, I'm going to say that Steve, I'm going to click on Steve edit roles, and I say that Steve is an administrator. So click on that and click on administrator. Okay. So what I've done there is then set these two roles to my two users. Now, how are we going to make use of those roles? Well, essentially, what we can do, just as we did the user.identity name to programmatically gain access to the name, what we could do is, for example, if we go into our application, let's click on default.aspx, which is let's click on the designer rather than the code. If we click on the designer, we have this placeholder ph name. What we'll do is at the moment that just gives some extra content. So what I'm going to do is create another placeholder, okay, here, which will have just only to be seen by the administrator. So let's kind of like on this placeholder, let's right click properties, let's call it ph administrator only. Okay, and let's inside there, let's go into the source. Let's maybe add some content into that placeholder. So click on source. I will let me just hide the toolbar. There's placeholder here. So let me just say this is content that will only be seen by the administrator. Okay, and now if I put it into my code, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to kind of, if the user is an ordinary user, I'm going to hide that placeholder. But if the user is an administrator, I'm going to show it. So what I can do is this: I can put if open bracket, no, not open bracket, if user dot is in role. open bracket, quote, administrator, okay, then ph administrator only dot visible equals true, else ph administrator only dot visible equals false. I think I've typed something like missed an R there. Okay, so now having done that, let's see how this might work. So let's press play. Okay, so this should bring up our website in Firefox. I can't remember whether it's still open from the previous time, in which case the user might still be authenticated from the previous session. Let us hope not. Oh, it is. Okay. So hello John, user is John. Now, if you notice there, hello John, user is John. That we don't have. This is for administrators only. We don't see anything like that. Okay, do we? So now then, what we can also do at this point, I'm going to add a log out button here on this page as well. So let me go to click on default.aspx on the page, and I'm going to now view the toolbox. And sorry, I need to stop the application first. I'm going to view the toolbox, and then with the toolbox, I'm going to drag the login status object. I think it is. There it is. Login status object. I'm going to drag that onto the screen such that the user, by clicking on it, will be able to log out. So if I click on to login status, okay, and login status essentially is something that will kind of allow, if you are logged in, it will allow the user to log out, okay, and and if you're not logged in, it will allow the user to log in. So if you are logged in, clicking on it will log you out and take you back to the main page, and the other way around, if you aren't logged in, but of course that's not possible in this case because we've made this page inaccessible to those who are not logged in. But should by any chance somebody had got to this page without being logged in, this will be a link to the login page. But anyway, let's go to let's press start debugging again. And so now this time I'm still going to be logged in, I think, as John. Okay, so I'm still going to be showing this page, which which has got some content which is only viewable by administrators, but John, not being an administrator, won't be able to see it. Okay, so user is John. Now, having added that control, I can now click log out, and that will take me to the login page. Now then, here I'm going to log in as Steve. Okay, and if I log in as Steve, what should happen, okay, now, as you see, I've got this content here. This is the content that will only be seen by the administrator. So that is because we've tested which role the user belongs to. And by testing which role the users belong to, we've given them access to some content which they wouldn't otherwise be able to see. Okay, so now, that's a very simple use of permissions to have differential views of content. Of course, website creation is a much more sophisticated thing than that. But for now, that's the useful start. And I think now, having seen all the capabilities of the login components in ASP.NET, now we can try and apply them to the Mobile Standards website.